Hello there again, YouTube. It is me with another top 10 list, but this time it's for death battles. Woohoo! Death. Now, this one was really hard to think of the right characters for, but I tried my best. I tried my best to match each character with another one that I thought would be a perfect counterpart to them. To be clear on this list, excuse me, this is just my opinion on which battles I would like to see the most. But if you have a suggestion that you didn't see in this list, then feel free to comment, or just comment if you have any suggestions for any of the top 10 lists you want to see me do. Oh, and also, I'm not picking winners for each of these fights because I can't really predict who would win in my own mind, and also, this is just who I'd like to see fight, not who I'd like to see win. Anyway, enough of the chit shots. Let's move on. This is my top 10 list for death battles that I would like to see. Number 10, Nightwing versus the Nightwing from DC versus the Winter Soldier from Marvel. I would have happily picked Robin versus Bucky for this one, but I felt like, as Nightwing and Winter Soldier respectively, they would have more combat experience. I'm not really sure who would win this fight, but like I said in the intro, I'm not here to tell you who I think would win. But I think this would be a good battle, and I know a fair few have said that I'd like to see these two sidekicks go at it in a fight, and I completely agree. This should be a good death battle, and I'm definitely curious to see who would come out on top. Number 9, Mugen from Samurai Champloo versus Afro from Afro Samurai. Since the guys at Death Battle already had a ninja death battle between Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden and Strider Hiryu from the Strider games, I don't see why Samurais should not be up next. These two anime swordsmen can really put on a good fight. Could really put on a good fight even. Mugen's style of breakdancing mixed with his sword skills against Afro's calm and more precise and serious fighting style could be a good fight to watch. The only problem I may have with this is that I feel as though not enough people know much about either character, and they only really know Afro from the Afro Samurai video game that came out a few years ago. But I wouldn't rule out a fight between these two, so I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Number 8, Morrigan from Darkstalkers versus Trish from Devil May Cry. No list would be complete without a nod to a couple of lady characters that I think should have a death battle. Morrigan from Darksiders and Trish from the Devil May Cry series. I think these two femme fatales could put on a really good fight, and not just because it would be stuck to the brim with eye candy for the males. Between these two demonic damsels, I don't really care who wins, and I don't think most males would care who wins either as long as they get to see it happen. But all sexism aside, I like both characters a lot. And like with Mugen and Afro mentioned above, it's not really a popular choice for a fight as I've seen. I don't see many people talking about it, but I wouldn't rule this one out either. Number 7, Aquaman versus Namor the Submariner. This is totally a fight I think everybody would love to see. You basically have one of DC's strongest superheroes whom everyone mocks, relentlessly, against one of Marvel's oldest characters whom I think everyone passes off because of his haircuts, and the wings of it on his feet as well. I've always found them a bit weird. Anyway, moving on. I think these two could have a good fight, and it would certainly shut the mouths of anyone who dares either hero. Well, Namor isn't so much a hero as he is more of an anti-hero and a bit of a knob, but hey, he's the king of Atlantis. Do you really expect him to keep his cool? No pun intended there, by the way. Number 6, Green Arrow vs Hawkeye. Yet another fight I'd like to see, and I have seen tons of other Death Battle fans commenting that they'd love to see this one. I'm in complete agreement with those who want to see this happen, because it would totally shut tons of fanboys of either side up for good. I truly do believe this could be a close battle, considering that it's between two of comic book history's most well-known characters, let alone archers. I know I said at the intro I wouldn't pick a winner, but if Hawkeye does get it, then maybe that'll stop people saying that he sucks so much. Number 5, Optimus Prime versus Megas. Yes, Optimus Prime from Transformers versus Megas XLR. I know, like, normally I would say, what universe they're from, but I think you can try and work it out for yourself on it. But yeah, Optimus Prime from Transformers versus Megas from Megas XLR. I know a lot of you were probably expecting me to say Optimus Prime versus Megatron, but I went with Megas because I think it would be nice to see Optimus Prime go against a robot that's piloted by a human, especially when you consider Optimus's motto: freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Okay, so it's granted that Coop, the pilot of Megas, is a fat, lazy slop, but that doesn't stop him from actually being a surprisingly good pilot and fighter. In the robot, I mean, on his own, he's kind of crap. Granted, most of Coop's victories have come by way of accident, but that doesn't mean that him/Megas and Optimus Prime wouldn't put on a show. Oh, and remember kids, chicks dig giant robots. Number 4? Yeah, number 4. The Prince from the Prince of Persia games versus Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed. This is another suggestion for a death battle that I've seen people talk about, and I think this would be a good one, truth be told. Although considering there's so many different iterations of the prince, I think it would be best to go with the Sands of Time to the Two Thrones era prince. But hey, that's just me. And I mainly picked Ezio from Assassin's Creed because while Connor, Edward, Altair and all the other ancestors are good characters, I don't think either of them had the same impact on people that Ezio did as a character. But yeah, this would be an awesome fight. And it would be good to see both characters try to utilise their environments like they do in the games. Number 3. Dante vs Deadpool. You really can't say you didn't see this one coming at some point. I think everybody loves both characters, and that's mostly because there's so much to love about both of them. And also because if you think about it, they have a lot in common. They both are red, they both fight using guns and swords, they both make jokes pretty much all the time. Hell, both their names even start with the letter D. As for which Dante would be fighting, I'd obviously go with the classic version. As much as I love the rebooted Dante, cue fanboy rage here, I think he's too young and hasn't learned enough to fight someone like Deadpool. So yeah, classic Dante versus Deadpool. I don't know about you, but I'd love to see it. Number 2. Alucard from Hellsing versus Gabriel from Castlevania. So far in Death Battle we've had master vigilantes, ninjas, gods, demons, and even evil scientists. So why not throw a couple of vampires into the mix as well? I really think that Alucard and Gabriel could put on a great fight, and probably a long one considering they're both pretty much immortal. I mean, they're both freaking vampires, after all. I know less about Gabriel than I do Alucard, but I think he can hang with Alucard if it comes down to a death battle between the two. They both have weapons unique to them as well, and both are pretty tough cookies in their own right, so I'd like to see it. And my number 1 choice, once again, as I say, this is public opinion, so if you were expecting whatever death battle you've got in mind, then I am sorry to disappoint you, I guess. Oh well. My number one choice is Jin Kazama from Tekken versus Ryu from Street Fighter. Man, I would love to see this fight. Of all the ones I've mentioned on this list, this is one I would love to see the most. Two tragic heroes, both from Japan, both fighting their own demonic sides, and both being absolute badasses. Honestly, excuse me. Honestly, these are two of my favourite fighting video game characters of all time, and to see these two fight in a death battle would be a dream come true for me. Honestly, this could be a new favourite death battle of mine if they chose to make it. I really don't have much else to say on these two, so I'll just say that this would be an amazing fight between two of video game history's premier martial arts masters. And for that reason, and for the other reasons I stated, it takes number 1 on my list of death battles that I would love to see. Anyway, that is it from me, folks. I will see you in the next battle for a top 10 list. Like I mentioned in the intro, if you have a suggestion for something, then feel free to drop it in the comments. And oh yes, I'd like to give a shout out to all my friends and all my family because I freaking love them all. And a special shout out to the lovely Scarlett. Thank you for putting up with me. I know I've said this before at the end of YouTube videos, but it doesn't make it any less true. I think you're awesome. Thank you, and thank everybody. And I'll see you all in the next video, whenever that may be. Bye.